Hello again. Well, we're streaming again. How about that? We're going to look at a Circle 8 book, a possible Circle 8 book, and Circle 8 and some other a mixed bag this time of Marvel, DC, some books going all the way back to Golden Age, some Silver Age goodness, and even some what you might call atomic age stuff that was in the 50s. Um, okay, I want to keep an eye on the chat. The only person I had was a Russian bot last time in here, and that's twice. That's two streams. I've gotten a Russian bot or a troll in the chat, so I'm going to have to start handing out wrenches to people so that come in the chat so that they can block that. But I've seen that a lot of other streams, and it's happened to me. I'm very small, and it's happening to me. Russian bots are the only ones in the live stream. This is out of character. This is a Marvel newer book, $1.25. Trying to look at the year at it. It's probably in '90s. Let's see what. I don't see that. Oh, okay. It's Look at the barcode, folks. A 30-year anniversary, 1962 to 1982, The Amazing Spider-Man with, oh, I wonder if he got compensated for this. No, I don't think so. Todd McFarlane, Todd McFarlane Spider-Man in the corner that you probably have in your collection. But this is a Thor book, and the reason I'm showing this, I had it at the hand. We'll get into some older books here in a minute, but you see the green. I had mentioned this in my last stream that I had one that was miscolored. I was talking about miscolored. We had a world's finest Batman boot that was green that should have been colored blue. That was just a mistake that wasn't caught, and it should have been in the approval. That's why you pull approval covers to off the line and make sure that the colors are matching up. Somebody just didn't catch that or didn't care. But this is the way the book should look, Thor. But now I have one where they didn't do the color right, and it may have been that they were running out of yellow, and or you got green and sort of a lime yellow there. I'd have to get the book to compare to it. That's why I kind of got this one out. I think I might have the other one in the safe. Going to get it graded and see what they say about it because it's got a blue background. Even Thor up here in the Ditko box, Steve Ditko's the one that came up with the idea to put that box up there. Um, in Astonishing Tales number 60, I think. And if they didn't have a box there, he's the one that it came up with. I had to look at that. But things are thing and this is picturing the old classic Thor on the cover, and then up here in the corner, him with a beard and mustache and the suit a little bit different, the boots, if you see. So you get the best of both worlds there. And I think transitioning back from this character to this character in this issue, and then later, you'd see the classic Thor, or I may have that reversed. I can't remember. They may have been transitioning to this character, but you get both Thors on the cover. So this is a pretty nice issue. And I've got um, out of that comic shop that I bought after my fire, it had one of these, but then I noticed online for some reason, I don't know, I noticed, wow, it's miscolored. It's blue and it should be green. All the other ones I saw online were green, lime green down here. And so, wow, I got something pretty rare. A holy grail, just an oddity, and with the change, the swap up here, it's kind of a minor key issue. It's definitely a great Thor cover with him there swinging the hammer around and just looking all dramatic, with the focus solely being on Thor. And then, of course, the byline up here, he's back at last, the triumphant return of the mighty Thor, the final gauntlet. Beautiful book to have in your collection, and you may have it in your collection, but check and see if the coloring is right. Go on eBay or go on other places like YouTube here. Do a search for this particular issue. People will be doing reviews and stuff. This one here, they say is very good, fine 5.0. and in box 8, I put on here, see box 8 for error, because I photograph all my comics and put them in boxes, but I can review them on my computer in my files. I get $4.25 to have a regular issue of this, because I know I'm probably going to at least have it graded. Don't know if I'm going to sell it. Something like that is rare. It's underappreciated, and sometimes the graders don't even recognize it. I know a friend of mine had a Valiant comic that was one of the new Valiants, and it had some gold flaked inking on it, and they didn't want to recognize that. I think it was the first appearance of Araya, maybe. I'm not sure. Can't remember. But another one, wow, this one to throw you for a loop. Silver Age Marvel goodness. The girl who could be you. Patsy Walker, number 123. Am I into romance comics? And at this time, this was made for young girls, and I've got a few production art pieces of romance, and I've got some romance comics. I even got some recently in a lot um, of a mixed bag of stuff that people found in a house. But now this is referenced in, I believe, the 1999 issue of Avengers Annual. And why? Because that's Patsy Walker's. They were getting a little bit more serious at that time, and that's her husband who dies in Vietnam. So I went out and sought this issue out, and these can go for a little bit of money, on there, especially. And I was for actually bid on a one. I wanted to win it as well, but this was the nicer two that I did win, and I was just glad to get this key issue that was actually referenced in. And if you don't know who Patsy Walker is, she later becomes Hellcat. They use the same character and to make her first appearance of Hellcat. They first had the cat in a 4 issue, and it was basically the same character, but a different character, different. It wasn't Patsy Walker, and then they revised her in Avengers as Hellcat. And maybe I'll show that issue. That's got a great, I believe, Gil Kane cover. I don't think there's and here's a better cover artist for the 70. Let me complete my thought. I've said that in another stream. This is brand new. Bought this on an auction off Facebook. You have collectors clubs. That's another good way to collect comics, is on just different people who sell comics on collectors club, and this I mean on in clubs on Facebook and other media like this. This is early Timely, Atlas, Marvel. This is, went by all three names in the mid uh, in the 50s. They went by Atlas, and this is an Atlas of Patsy and Hetty. Same character, Patsy Walker and Hetty Wolf, her friend. Basketball cover. It's an Alan Jafer cover. He signed it there, not physically signed it, but signed his artwork, which is, for this time, not everybody signed the covers. And on sale every month, 10 cent. But this one is issue 14 in pretty stellar shape to be as old as it is. And this paid for all the other comics I bought at that auction. I knew that since I'd looked into Patsy Walker about that and had kind of priced other Patsy Walkers and looked at that, and I knew that there was demand. I didn't realize at the time when I bought this that it was as old as it was. After it looked it up, there was like a poor copy of this on eBay for 100 and something, and there was a little higher graded, a graded one that was like a 7.0 that was 400 and something, I think. But that's all they had to offer. I could put this on eBay right now in the raw and get well over $100 for it, probably. You wouldn't think that out of Patsy and Hetty. Nice cheerleader, see a nice little leg and up the skirt. Oh, hey, there's some, I mean, early Atlas books, especially like this, that were geared towards girls, and that have survived that long, from, I believe, I believe this one's from 1953. Uh, they had a $5 price tag. It's so new I haven't even changed the board and bag out yet, but I will. We'll keep those two together. Patsy Walker. Well, let's look at one that was prominently featured in a movie and is a graded book. It's a 9.6. It's Marvel 2-in-1 number 50. By John Byrne. John Byrne or George Perez did the cover. And we're all praying for you, George, um, with your battle with cancer that you recently um, sent out to the community and told us. And Joe Sennett inks over George Perez. Of course, Joe Sennett in Marvel 2-in-1 and in other books was a prominent inker at that time and inked a lot of George Perez's stuff and other places. I love this because it's got our Rocky thing, the defined Rocky thing, fighting the original sort of orange lumpy thing, which I prefer actually. And I actually have a Marvel Legends um, lumpy thing there. And I've actually got several of that one because I liked it so well. I bought them when they came out. This is number 50, um, John Byrne's story. John Byrne and Joe Sennett again, inking John Byrne, and George Perez, inked by Joe Sennett on the cover. Off white to white pages, came out April 1979. This was featured prominently, a great artwork of the battle between the two things there. It's kind of a time travel story, I think. But just you can't this was prominently featured in the classic comedy movie Meatballs in the early 40s when it came out. The kid that he's talking to is reading a bunch of comics. This is not the only comic you see, but this is the one he's really perusing through, has in his hands while he's talking, and featured in the classic movie Meatballs. So if you haven't seen that, go out and watch it, and you'll see that book prominently in there. This one I have to take out of a plastic sleeve. It is mislabeled, and I don't know who PGA is, but this is Fantastic Four number 13, the first appearance of the Watcher, the first appearance of Red Ghost and his Super Apes, the only issue that Steve Ditko inked over Jack Kirby artwork. He did do the next cover, Fantastic Four number 14. He inked the cover over Jack Kirby, but he didn't do the insides. This is the only complete issue in the mid 70s. They reprinted it in one of the giant size treasury editions. And that's where I first encountered this story. Where this is mislabeled by PGA World, who slabbed and graded this. And I was thinking for a long time in my head, I just didn't pay that much attention to it, that it was PGX. I didn't buy it as a PGX. I just bought it because it was at the right price at the time. But I'm unfamiliar with PGA. If you know PGA, put a comment down there and tell me a little bit about them. I'd like to know about their grading service. But they got Fantastic Four number 13, very good find. They're saying 5.0. Looks like a kind of crummy 5.0 to me. I don't know that if I had it regraded, which I do plan to have done at some point, that it would grade that quite that high, but I'm willing to take the hit. It could probably use a pressing and it might help it. Don't know if it's been pressed or not. Uh, but and it says it was graded in 904. So September of 94, or I'm sorry, September of 2004, this was encapsulated. So it probably needs some love and needs to be re-encapsulated. Great shoe ad on the back. But why is it mislabeled? Because up here it doesn't say Marvel. It says Dale, February 2/2/59. So they mislabeled it. They didn't put Marvel in the correct date that it came out. They put Dale, February 59. So how they got that wrong, and some sucker probably got the other. I don't know. Can you see that? Or top where it's mislabeled right here. Get it closer to the camera. But I'm covering up my camera so I don't know. I'm trying to hold it where you can see it. But it's mislabeled. I'm not going to send it back to PGA. I don't even know if they're still grading. Halo's another one that I know of, but the main three are going to be PGX and CBCS and CGC, of course. They're supposed to be the standard, but I prefer CBCS for a variety of reasons. Clarity on their encapsulation, but we won't go into that. Just a wonderful first appearance of one of their big cosmic characters that would later make an appearance. Of course, he made some other appearances. It's a story, some backup stories and things, but makes his next full prominent appearance in when Galactus and Silver Surfer come in the 40s, issue 40s. I wish I knew exactly which right offhand, but yeah, just wonderful, wonderful. I don't think Steve Ditko inked the cover. It doesn't even tell you on the label. Pretty lame, pretty lame. But this was probably, this is 2004. This is early encapsulated. It looks like maybe Chick Stone, but I don't know. That's definitely a Kirby hand. It could be George. His name Roscoe. I don't know that Kirby had so many inkers, different inkers on the early Fantastic Fours. He had so many inkers on Avengers. He was doing so many books at the time, and really, I think Avengers. He really brought his A game to the Fantastic Four, but on those early Avengers, I think it looks pretty shoddy. And part of that is that he didn't have a great inker. The one of the best early Fantastic Four books to come out was the first appearance of Doctor Doom, because that was inked by George Sennett, and George Sennett wouldn't, and Joe Sennett. I'm sorry, George. Where am I? Anyway, Joe Sennett inked it, and it's just one of the best inked, time travel story with Doctor Doom. It's hard for Doctor Doom's first appearance. It's just, and this is the Watcher and you gotta love Red Ghost and the Super Apes. You got an orangutan, a gorilla, and a baboon. Baboon can shape shift. The orangutan had magnetic powers, and of course, the gorilla was super strong, could go up against the thing, and does in this issue. So this is just a wonderful issue. I just love that it's the first appearance of what. But what makes it so great is that Ditko inks over Kirby, and really, you have to go to some of those early Atlas pre Marvel, like the Groot, first appearance of Groot, and some of the monsters like that, where you get Ditko inks over Kirby. In those early days, they were all doing the monster books, and Ditko, after he started doing Spider-Man and Doctor Strange and characters like that he helped develop and come up with, he was a busy man, and he just wasn't just doing inks anymore. He was doing pencils and inks on those projects and things. And didn't have the time. Of course, Kirby was working on a lot of stuff, but during those early years of late years of Atlas and early years of Marvel, if you want to call it that, you got a lot more Ditko and Kirby, and that's why they're. I mean, not only is that the early stuff when Marvel was very small and not publishing very few titles, and going the monster craze of the 50s and early 60s. That's my thought there. Sorry, folks. And you got the Earth in the background. It's just a wonderful book. If you have a fantastic, and the great thing about a slab is you around and throw it around and go, well, I don't do that to my book. Well, it's not your book. It's my book. I can do what I want with it. So anyway, but yeah, I'm going to take good care of this. This is one of the gems. I just know what's in it. It's just a great story. You can probably find it in reprint form. Yeah, back there I have showcase, and I cleared one for this stream I don't know if you can see on that top. Yeah, right up here. Let me get my finger. Yeah, right there, right at the end of my finger, all the way down, are like Marvel and other and DC archives and the more expensive reprints. But you can find it just in floppy forms, and floppy forms is like this. This just single issues, like the world's finest, the last world's finest that I featured in the other. That we call that a floppy. I don't want to throw out jargon that people aren't uh, familiar with. Don Chin, well, hello. You're in the chat. All I got was a Russian bot the last time. So I'm glad to see you're watching. But I bet you'd like that book, Don. That's a nice looking book. Hey, let's go on to something else. That's even yeah. So how about some Frank Frazetta? Don, if you're in the chat, say something else to me in the chat so I know you haven't given up on me. You can play the Lone Ranger with me. Here's Frank Frazetta, Blazing Combat #3. This is Warren Publishing from April 1966. Blazing Combat, War Tales of Exciting Realism, #3, Illustrated Battle Adventure. And this is a Frank Frazetta cover, magazine size, so these weren't readily taken care of. Archie Goodwin stories in it, Frank Frazetta cover, Torres, Crandall, Orlando, Cole, Art. I like how they abbreviate stuff. Wally Wood, Gene Colan, Joe Orlando, uh, forget Crandall and Torres's first name, but look at the little 9.0 they stuck there. 9.0, Frank Frazetta. Hey, Don, I'll trade your birds. Fantastic. Well, what about this lovely book? Sorry about the glare with the Frank Frazetta 9.0, big magazine size. Look on the back. You got thrilling battle action as only the world's greatest comics artist can portray in this third plunge into the blistering excitement of combat. Look at the panels on that, all in black and white with an explosion on the back. Makes you want to go out and all in red background. Makes you want to, you know, what year is that magazine? Okay. I didn't answer questions. You're the only one in here right now. Um, this is 1966, April 1966, #3, A Blazing Combat. And you got to love that logo, all on fire, blazing, and then just white combat, all kind of gritty, not quite shot up, but you can tell he shot up the Viet Cong. The reason I like this is that it's history. We were in Vietnam fighting, and they came out with this. Very controversial, and it's for Zeta. Come on. Okay, here's a newer book. NYX. I believe this is the third print. That was the third issue. This is the third printing, not third printing. Sorry, Don, in chat. This came out in September 2004. Joe Costata story. It's got a Josh Middleton cover. It's got the third appearance of X-23. I can't believe that many people collected this NYX. You have any NYX, Don? Look at those cats on there. Flying Feline would like that. Yeah, 9.0. Yeah, nice ad on the back. All right. Now, Circle 8 Comics. Circle 8 was a collection out in Arizona. And what they did is they had stacks and stacks that were nicely put in a warehouse for a long time. Of course, the climate out there was Frazetta a vet. I'm not sure on that, Don, if he was a vet or not. If he wasn't, he probably knew some vets, but he probably was. I mean, Frazetta was from Brooklyn, was he not? I don't know. They're fighters. They're scrappers. I know, he did a lot of advertising type stuff, kind of like Warhol, Andy Warhol in the 50s. Of course, he worked on Famous Funnies. He did a lot of covers for Famous Funnies in the 50s. This may be, I can't claim that it is, and it's not up here in the CGC label. This may be from that Circle 8 collection. And what they would do, and this was given to me by some people. I don't have did a cover for yeah. Oh, that's cool. This is a Gil Kane cover. I can tell with Tom Palmer inks, one of the best inkers out there, I think. Um, Chamber of Chills, #1, Marvel, uh, November 1972. Since I was born in November, I like November covers. Uh, Danger, Open Pit, Acme Construction Company. That's kind of like the cartoons we used to watch, huh, Doc? Everything was Acme Construction. It's mad. It's insane, and yet a fire-breathing nightmare in the heart of the city. Run, girl, run! A dragon stalks by night. A tale of fear by Harlan Ellison. Hey, this is a good one, huh? Harlan Ellison, an epic of hate that engulfed two worlds. Chamber of Chills. But the reason I say this might be what they would do is if it had a 12 cents, they would mark that down in half in the Circle 8 collection. Now, a bunch of them did have 8 on there encircled in grease prints. This is a 20 center and has the 15 center. If you can see that blinking up there in the logo, and I do believe this to be a cert from the Circle 8 collection. What they would do is they would have stacks of comics in the top comic on the stack. They would mark it down half price and put in grease pencil, half the cover price. I know 15 cents is not half a 20, but still, I think this may be from the Circle 8 collection. And so, if you got any grease penciled covers, you might want to look at that. Got the standard Laughing Man head ad on the back. All right, here's the one in the thumbnail. That's a pretty cool book. It's a Dale. It's part of that four. Yeah. Oh, you did. Wow. Yeah. That's great to meet people like that, like the greats. Like I met Charles, or not Charles Schultz. Anyway, the DC great writer that started the Silver Age. I think a minute. Help me out, Don. And also I met Stan Lee. And I've told this story on other streams. I met Eric Larson when he was a nobody. He was sitting there shilling his first um, uh, Savage Dragon book at the Chicago Comic Con. Was trying to sell it for $2 to everybody in the Megaton. His first appearance in Megaton when he had 2 toes on his feet and that short little mohawk. And he hadn't quite perfected the look of Savage Dragon yet. But this is part of that long run. On an earlier stream, I showed you the very last issue from 1962, number 1300 and something, the longest run American comic book. I've got some Phantom books that go way up into the 1400s. They really love the Phantom down there. I talked on one stream to Hockey, who lives down in Australia, about the Phantom. His father collected the Phantom. Phantom was so much bigger. Lee Fox the Phantom down in Australia, and I've got a whole collection that I'll probably stream with and show some of those. And Tarzan even did in a crossover in a couple of those issues. So the Phantom's a lost known pulp hero like Doc Savage and the Shadow. Only the Shadow knows, right? But this is issue 1250, and it's got Glenn Ford. Now, Glenn Ford, who, in many great Western, but he played in this, The Four Horsemen of Apocalypse, another movie. And this is from 1961, Metro Golden Mayor. It's got some Nazis hitting up on women, 3 surrounding one, and the other looks like they're going to give a pick. Maybe they're prostitutes in the movie. I can't say that I've seen the Four Horsemen of Apocalypse on a movie. Have you, Don? Conquest, war, pestilence, death. These were the four horsemen who rode out of the sky to set the world aflame. But it looks like an interesting, after, post World War II movie that they would do in the 60s, which would be too controversial today. But this is part of the great uh, war, 4-color run. They always designated as a movie classic, usually had these, banner and a photo cover. I've seen John Rain, and I've got one I featured on an earlier stream of Steve McQueen. Sadly, got to get the other one. Oh yeah, you were in Megaton for it. Oh, okay. Wow. Was was Megaton 4 the issue that featured, that early appearance of, Savage Dragon on the cover? Let me know because I can't remember exactly what issue. That sounds about right. So you had artwork in number 4? Let me know. I wanna know about that, Don. That's cool. Okay, you'll know this, Don, and, chat. Uh, Detective Comics 369. I have some production artwork to this cover. I think another classic Gil Kane in an early appearance of maybe her third appearance. I'm not sure of Batgirl. And this one I gave $17.41 for. Very good minus, they say, from 1967. Um, Dragon was earlier. I wrote a story in Megaton. Oh yeah, that's great. Yeah, and I think it was one of the earlier Megaton books that was also, kind of the birth of Image too, wasn't it? Just a very low print run. I love Quentin Tarantino should remake that Apocalypse movie. I'm telling you, I mean that would be awesome, wouldn't it? He would have a different slant on it, kind of like his Kill Bill movies, huh? Well, okay, here's another DC classic. In this issue, double action dynamite. Well, that makes me want to buy it there. It's got, I don't know, it's all pink, but there's a little bit more magenta on that R there. And this is when they had the small little logo. It is a 10 center from December, January. I hate it when they don't put the year on there. Number 62, All Star Western. Uh, I I love this. It reminds me of the Aztec Ace character. Liefeld was in print and in Megaton as well. Yeah, yeah. I mean, just classic. Let me know, Don, if you know Aztec Ace. That was a great 15 issue run. And in fact, I backed on Indiegogo the hardbound. They're redoing that. I think it's still up in demand. I've been waiting for the better part of a year for it. It is a hardbound book. I believe we'll get it. But yeah, Aztec Ace and hardbound, pretty expensive. Or I gave 76.50, Don, if you don't know, if you haven't watched, but look at the perspective on that, just the incoming spears and the arrows and the giant gong behind him. You can see where I thought that this Native American Indian, if that's derogatory, it's even got a arrow here in his gong. Uh, I don't know if you call that the gong. The gong's on the back, but yeah, his thing there it goes right through there. But he really reminds me of Aztec Ace, which I really love. I actually had a original by Dan Day. I had an original uh, Aztec Ace page that I bought. First time I bought, some John Byrne and some Jim Steranko or Jim Starlin rather. I had some Joe Staten art. I had him do me a Clark Kent, but sadly all that burned up in the fire. Um, if you want to know more about that, I do mention that in another thing. Wasn't that Gene Day? Yeah, you probably got that right. Yeah. But yeah, a few Aztec Ace. I don't even think that I have a complete collection of it, and then the ones that I have. And that was the first time they were going on Baxter paper. And then like DNA agents came out on Mondo, what they call Mondo paper, better paper quality than just the pulp paper. So I was really excited about some of those early books from Pacific Comics and Eclipse Comics that were coming out. I heard somebody who worked for Eclipse say recently on a stream that they loved working. It might have been on Comic Book Kings on Ethan's channel that they loved working for Eclipse Comics. I think it was Art T. Bear. He might have done some things for them. He's certainly old enough, isn't he? Oh, sorry about the fire. Yeah, that happened in '97. But you know what, Don? I turned around and I bought out a comic book shop. Got my first appearance of Harley Quinn out of that deal, and some other great gems. So, and a lot of good barcodes out of that. Out of when the run on those out on newsstand was only about 1%. If you want to hear about barcodes, I've got another video that I did on that. Featuring the DC barcodes. If you don't know about that, Don, here you go. Got one handy. This is what you want to look for. I've got that as my little tag there, and you see that DC universe in the barcode. These were featured in the box in like box sets in like Toys R Us and Walmart and TG&Y and who knows what, you know. But they're lesser condition. Actually, I've got a CGC graded 9.6 one up there. But I was saying on that one, I went to my local comic shop and found 44 of them. I for great price. Yeah, Eclipse is where I got my pro start. Oh, cool. That's cool. Joe Staten was one of my faves on E-Man for Charlton. Yeah, and they had some great painted covers too, didn't they? A lot of, like, John Byrne did some great Space 1999s from Charlton with painted covers, and I just loved the Charlton stuff. I hated it at that time. I got some Bullseye when they started introducing Blue Beetle again, original properties like Vanguard, and it had a short run. You had the first appearance, and I'm going to have to show those. The I'm blanking on the rabbit that was there in those two issues, but I love, and they had in earlier in around 73, I think, in the Bronze Age, they had Charlton Bullseye, which was, a friend of mine out there in Arizona. He has up for sale on eBay. He has the larger size one. Of course, they're a little pricey. They're kind of magazine sizes or more golden age size. Yeah, that's cool to hear that about Eclipse. Do I have any Peacemaker books? Um, wouldn't that be great? I think I have a modern reprint from the 80s. That's kind of like Whitman, we just kind of discarded Whitman's when I had my comic store in 82, 83, when things like Camelot 3000 and Marvel Age and Dazzler #1, which was Marvel's first, uh, came out. But that was right on the cusp of the direct market just coming out in stores. So we got right in on the thing. Sadly, I think it helped destroy and take comics off the stands. Um, Don says, "Do you have?" Let's see. I read that. Any Peacemaker books? I do. If I do, I'll feature them for you. Okay, just gotta find them. Um, or maybe I'll put it as a thumbnail as well if it's stored away in a box. I can always go into my files and do that too. Well, hell no, no Parsons for coming in. Oh, it's another bot. I got to wrench you. I got to figure out how to wrench you, Don. You can come in here and you can block those. I've done two. I've had one already. Another troll get me this stream, and I had one on a shorter stream. I've had a couple other people come in on other chats. My first ones I had kid friendly. Didn't know till somebody told me that that won't allow adult chat to come in. So we fixed that problem, but we hadn't fixed the troll and bots. Have you gotten any trolls over there on your channel? I have already on mine, and I've only got about 10 to a dozen videos up, but they've been all live streams. I think those will go up since there is a new series. What are you talking about there, Don? Because I kind of got off the subject there. Show John Cena. Well, what are you talking about there? What do you think will go up in price? Tell me the book. You mean the yeah, they've already starting to spike the old Charlton Peacemakers. Yeah, just a few bots. Yeah, I think everybody's getting them. I've seen them in everybody's stream. Well, let's look at showcase number. I was fortunate enough to get a showcase 35. You know what that is, Don? It's 10/8. Early Dooms from Beyond. Hey, it's not in that great a condition. I didn't get that much, but I never really thought I'd own this, great Gil Kane cover. I gave 22.80 for it. The second appearance of Adam in Showcase on his little trial run, 1961. Second appearance of Adam. So that was one I scored, I believe, maybe last year. Fairly early. Sorry about the glare, but you know enough about comics that, hey, you can appreciate getting a grail like that. Adams, it seems to me, Don, are suppressed in price. You can pick them up. I was talking about in an earlier stream about I was talking about World's Finest, because I did all but World's Finest from Silver Age up to the very last issue, which the last issue you probably have. I bought it off the stands when it came out. Sadly, that was one of mine that I put it over there, burn up. But hey, life goes on. I've got a better collection now. You'll appreciate this because you like comics and you like comic creators, and you might not even know him. And I even have a COA here, Justice League of America 108, signed by Lin Wynn at Long Beach Comic Con in 2015. A premium autograph comic book pedigree certificate. So that's pretty cool. I gave 1866 for this, signed after he died. Lin Wynn signed there on the cover. Nice, nice cover. Not that older book. What, 40 cents? Yeah, you know. Probably a Ross Andrew cover. I hear Ross Andrew is way undervalued. I think Andy Smith was talking about Ross Andrew, or maybe it was Gil Kane had a lot of regard for Ross Andrew and was telling who was it did Black Flag? My gosh. And he was on Graham Nolan's stream. Excuse me. Also got this spam that comes up there. He was a really good writer to love Swamp Thing. Yeah, Swamp Thing's one of my favorite DC characters. But now we hit another Atlas. I'm sorry to be boring you with all these comics, but here's Journey in a Mystery. I wish I could say 83. That would be the first appearance of Thor. I wish I had that sweet little thing. Yeah, Ross drew Zen Intergalactic Ninja for Archie. Oh, he did. Wow. I have some Zen, some early Zen. Black Flag. Is Dan Fry? Oh, I said Black Flag. American Flag. Flag. I'll think of his name here in a minute. I mean, come on, Silver Age. He's still around, but Anyway, I love that this was what struck me about this was paneled, and much like that, this was a 10-cent comic, and who knows, maybe it was a Circle 8. I doubt it. It's probably later, and usually those tend to be in pretty good shape. Varying, that graded one was 8.0, but this has in grease pencil on it very lightly. Done a long time ago, I'm sure, a 5. So they were cutting all brand new stories in this. The man who had no fear when David opened the door, the dark room, monsters on the moon. I like that one with the big steps. But Journey into Mystery number 31, some Atlas goodness. And I love the multi on that. I think if I turn it that way, and you can see the giant grease pencil there on it, the 5 written on it, and just a little in that, the little bitty 10 cents. But look at that giant authority code. But it almost looks like Charlton up there, doesn't it? With the slash, because Charlton would do that and have a little circular thing there, I believe, on some of their early ones. But that's an Atlas. Yeah, Journey into Mystery. Just a few issues down the line. This is 1956. I gave 48.32 for that. Did I get ripped off, Don? Yeah, Chaikin. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Howard Chaikin. Yeah, Howard Chaikin was told by his mentor, Gil Kane, uh, that he should take another evaluation of Ross Andrews' work, that he was great. Now, here's one that you probably don't have in your collection, but you may. A Golden All-Star book of Amazing Spider-Man, 59 cents, with hanging up Dr. Octopus on the cover. I like the spider webs in the logo. But these were for younger readers, but great little painted cover there. Almost looks like a Larkin colors. Beautiful. I mean, the ship's way down there. I mean, the depth, it's just great. I mean, that would have captured my imagination at a certain age. And when I first started collecting Spidey, Doc Ock was one of the first villains that I encountered in his main run. And you'll appreciate this one, another great Marvel book, Submariner number 9, a very sensitive black cover. Shows up breakage of color very easily. I always loved the Marvel cartoons in the 60s, and I especially liked Submariner. He reminded me of Leonard Nimoy, Spock on Star Trek, because of the pointed ears and the way they did his hair. And there he's going up against the ever loving blue eyed thing, which my daughter, when she was younger at 4 years old, called Rockman. You can see why. But yeah, a great sensitive black cover. Got that from a friend in Tennessee, and you'll be hearing more about him. He'll help me co host on some of these, but I got this, traded him for this. And I always liked in the cartoon, the Submariner cartoons. Those Marvel cartoons weren't that great. The Fantastic Four was a little bit better animated. They only did, I think, 19 episodes of that, but you introduced Galactus and other things. But I always liked Submariner because he would say my name, Rex. He would say Imperious Rex, and I liked hearing my name as a kid on TV. You know, great issue, had to have it. Oh, some more Ditko goodness. You don't want to see any Ditko goodness. Let's see what you're chiming in about, Don, or if we got some more people in the chat. It's Bulk Spock, yeah, a new Spotty movie. Okay. Oh yeah. Have you seen it yet? Have you seen it? I hear it's pretty good. I can't wait till the end of January when the very first Marvel character I encountered in Vampire Tales #5 magazine in 1973 with Gil Kane artwork reprinted, just the origin part of Morbius in it, um, um, from Amazing Spider-Man 102, his second. I got a cover list of 102 recently. Amazing Fantasy. Oh, I wish I could say 15. First appearance of Spider-Man. I wish I could say 15. But no, this is Amazing Adult Fantasy, number 13. Ditko cover. It's got the M there. I don't know if that's a printing inclusion there or something, but midnight there. It's got a little white dot. Don't think it's cover there, but a great atmospheric, uh, amazing adult fantasy number 13. Just a couple issues later would introduce Spider-Man. Just a wonderful, in that run. This is the only one I have in the amazing fantasy run, but it's a good one. And I only gave $17.32 for it. Ditko cover. 2 issues away from the first appearance of Spider-Man. You got to love it. And I just like, early Marvel comic. They just said that it didn't stand for Marvel Comics, I don't think. It has the little MC there. And so did Fantastic Four #1. Don, can you name, here's your trivia question. Can you name the only 2 books that were 10 cents from the early Marvel books? Not the Atlas stuff, but after it became Marvel. Can you name the 2 books that were 10 cents? All the rest were 12. Well, it wouldn't be complete without just some Jim Steranko, Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. #7. Love it because it's like Salvador Dali, melting clocks. It's surrealism thrown in there. One of his great collage-like covers, a classic cover. I'm sure you're familiar. Full cover. Got to mention the skull on there. You got to love that. Amazing Fantasy. Yeah, what about Amazing Fantasy? You got a question mark there. Yeah, that was Amazing Adult Fantasy. They changed Amazing Fantasy to just Amazing Fantasy. Yeah, Steranko was awesome, or is awesome. Yeah, sorry. He's still doing the convention circuit. Now, here's one you won't find. Here's a nice 10-cent dinosaur cover. But Catholic, I guess, religious type book. 5th, 1965, volume 16, number 9, big authority cover. It's got like not a triceratops, but the other one that's related to him. And that's not even a T-Rex. He's got a spike on his nose. You got to love these early depiction of dinosaurs. Got a brontosaurus there, a pterodactyl, and a flaming volcano. I know you can't wait to see it. Was that 10 cents? Was what 10 cents? Steranko, the Steranko? No, the Steranko was later. That was 12 cents. Let's see. And I gave $32 for this particular one after shipping and handling. Yeah, I got this one a while back, and I don't think it's my only issue. I actually got this into August 26, 2014. So I've had this book in 2014. I got it off eBay. It's supposed to be in very fine shape. This is 12-cent cover, though. Close, but no cigar. Um, yeah. You want me to give you the answer? What was the only two books with 10 cents? I've got one of them. I wish I had the other one. But let's take a look at this wonderful 10-cent treasure chest. You got any treasure chests, Don? Because they got some wonderful, you being a man of faith, they've got some wonderful, I've got some wonderful ones depicting Jesus. I just like this one. It depicts, almost like counter evolution. I don't know. It's wonderful dinosaur cover. I mean, who wouldn't like a 10-cent in this condition too? Look at that large. I got this through, maybe you can tell me. This is 1960, number 9, very good. I gave $12.15 for that. I like showing off my deals because that is in wonderful shape to be, come on, that's a Happy Meal at McDonald's. You have this in poor condition, or you have the Steranko in poor condition. I'm sorry, I'm not keeping up with the chat there. You have a lot of old books. Hey, that's what we feature here. You don't want to see something you just got off the stand, do you? You want to see some, and you being a man of faith, you're the man of God's Heroes in America, 35 cents, square bound, glued cover. I taught printing here too. I worked for World Color that did Marvel comics, although I never got to print any Marvel comics. We did like Disney catalog, Newsweek, airline books. It was on the airline. We polybagged and put them in plastic with little subscription things that fall out in your lap and other things, our free subscription and maybe 2 magazines together. When you heat seal and run them through a polybagger. I've worked on one of those before. They can be a headache. But yeah, God's Heroes in America. There's a comic that not many people have in their collection, probably. Yeah. Oh, I got another bot in here. Yeah. Steranko in poor condition. Well, at least you got one and you can, it's sweet. Like dinosaurs as a kid. Yeah, we all did. I started out like Graham Nolan with monsters, loving monster books. Another great one, if we're talking patriotic, and this is a big, thick, you can, almost like 100-page, excuse me, classic illustrated special issue, The Story of America. You got Daniel Boone, and you got the British there, a patriot that's been wounded, and a Native American Indian on the cover. And that, Classic Illustrated would have Classic Illustrated Junior as well. Classic Illustrated. I actually have the Ben Franklin. It's not mine, it's my friend's, but I have it in my safe. The Ben Franklin, the early Ben, and I have the comic too. That's what's one reason I got the comic. I said earlier, Don, that I have a lot of production art. I don't know if I've shown you my, just for you, Don. I'll whip it out here. Just for you, Don. I'll whip it out one more time. This is the color guide or a color guide to Avengers number 4. It's got the punch holes down here where they would do the alignment. It's got some marking on there. You probably can't see it, but Hulk's head there's got a little round circle. Maybe they wanted to change something. I don't know. Maybe the coloration of it. It has a little notation up here, and it's just stapled to this to these boards here. This stuff is, well, no, it's actually not. I'm sorry. That's my keeps it stiff and everything. It's just like this, like cardboard, but it's got punch holes here for the alignment. and that spam comes up, and I can't see what you're saying to me. I have a few Steranko Captain America issues. Yeah, he started out, that's his early stuff, and he did a lot of Strange Tales, right? Nick type stories and some of the covers over there too. Is that one of a kind? Yeah, probably is. Probably is. And you know what? It cost me 0. My friend in Jackson, he put it up on eBay for sale after buying it on eBay years and years ago. And I said, well, if I had that, I'd never sell it. You know, Avengers is what got me collecting comics, 147 and 148, with some of that early George Perez goodness. And we're praying for you, George. Um, yeah, I'll show you the different layers. It hadn't got as many layers as some, and you would have, I don't know if you've seen color guides or not. Look at the color. Prefer the acetate ones, the ones that are on plastic. And these, I've got some that go all the way back to the 40s. Plastic was developed for cockpits in World War II, and first developed for that, probably by DuPont, because they did a lot of that developing, and they still do a lot of development. They may have been the ones that came out with nylon stockings. I don't know. That was a big innovation too during the war years. Um, and highly coveted. But yeah, this has 3 stages to it, and they did them in paper as well with a cover on that. Depends on the company that did it. This was probably World Color. I don't know that, but I know the World Color that I worked for did the Marvel stuff, and then Sparta, Illinois did the DC stuff for many, many years. Is it one of a kind? Yeah, yeah. It's probably one of a kind because this stuff was junked and thrown away. You have the sienna, you have the sienna, and you see a little red over times come off on it, but you got the sienna, and then you have just the color there. Look at it. Look at Submariner all pinked out, and Thor pinked out there, and Captain America's face and everything. Got the Wasp up there. She gets left out. She's so small. But then you put the line art, boom, it all comes together. The first Silver Age appearance of Captain America, folks, right there, one of a kind. I featured this on other streams, but just for you, Don, just so because you hadn't seen it probably. I didn't think that I'd show that on your show or anything. See, I've been holding out on you, Don. You got to have me on here pretty soon. Going to get my mail up out. I just got content up on my site, and thank you for subscribing. I'm sure you probably subscribed. If you haven't, I always forget to say that. Not always, but hit that likes button and that subscribe button and subscribe to the channel. You'll see treasures like Treasure Comics. I featured Treasure Comics, wonderful underwater cover, Dr. Stick's cover, which was a reprint on a high printing, though, high reprint cover over a coverless treasury that had public domain characters like Paul Bunyan. Um, nice. We did those kind of, proofs uh, when we did pre-press. Yeah. Um, yeah, the off color print press and what Alterna's doing is great, on that higher quality white. I mean, Marvel and DC books never looked that good on newsprint, I guess. Man, I'm just drawing a blank on some things. Man, I got a couple more that you'll love here, and then we'll call an end to the stream because that's all I got right here, man. Are you kidding? I don't want to just show the dregs. I want to show the good stuff. And I've got a number 3. Sadly, I don't have it here to show today, but I have a number 5 here of Underwater Crime, 10 cents. This would have been back in the 50s, I believe. Yeah, 1953. Very good minus. I love that slanted logo, the way it works both ways there. I gave $58.60 for it, number 5, and I have a number 3, and I have a story about number 3, which has the gangster in front of with lights and police officers hunting him, all in ragged wear. I'll show it on another stream when I find it. In front of his own Wadden poster behind him, so he's like cornered. They also did a great Captain America in double, was it double action? print that, basically it was reprints of the Tales of Suspense in the Bronze Age, and it had Iron Man and Captain America in there, and basically reprinted from that material with new covers. Um, but yeah, this is in the crime vein. I sadly don't know exactly who published this, but number three arrived, like 50 years later to me, and they tried to roll it up and stuff it in my, fortunately, little damage. But to survive all those years and get to my mailbox and put that golden age, whoever shipped it should have used more than the little, you know, that's frustrating. See what you're saying here. I have to click these things off. Can you come open mic next Wednesday? You bet. Yeah. I'm doing Pop XP on so if you watch Pop XP, I'm doing that with Billy Tucci and Niles over there on Tuesday. I and Pedro and Don Plegel and Andy Adam. We're gonna be on there. It's a 4-minute promo show. Hey, I love 4 minutes. And I promise not to run over this time. Promote your channel. Yeah, promote my channel. You bet. Yeah. But in one day, I had 0 subscribers starting yesterday. And today, I think I have like 33 or more. So the CG community is great. This will be the last book. This is, there's only 2 versions of this book out there, I believe. Accepted Publications did these. You ever heard of Accepted? Now, I was talking some, rare stuff. One book I've got, Nedor, uh, on Pop's channel. One of his experts that came on knows everything about comics, didn't even know about Nedor. I had to inform him about Nedor, which was off of Standard and Pine Comics. Um, but we can't know it all, can we? This is partial photo covers, colors, and the exciting issue, the fight of the century, fighter versus wrestler, plus the true stories of all-time champions. It's a grand slam homer. We win the game. Sports Thrills number 15. Sports Thrills number 15. Beautiful color on that. Partial photo cover down there below with all the players, and Elsie would know these better than I do. He knows those baseball players. But there's actually 2 versions of this out there. I forget exactly. It's just when I bought this, I kind of looked into it. But yeah, there's 2 versions of this, and we don't know exactly. Well, it's accepted reprint number 11 shows number 15 on the outer cover. In the 50s, you often had that. And I've got some more examples back there of Red Circle comics that they did. They took old covers from the 40s and put them on 50s books. And then, of course, you also had the shoe store books that put covers, their shoe store books. I've got an adventure comic, early Aquaman. If you bought the regular cover, it'd be quite expensive, but this has kind of like the white plain, um, and it isn't in that great a shape. But this is number 11, accepted reprint number 11, and number 15 on the outer cover. So I don't know if I can, first 4 interior pages missing and incomplete. I do have some incomplete books, but it doesn't, you know, doesn't keep me from loving a great cover, you know. And this is an LB Co cover. That was one reason I got it. The Golden Age cover artist, LB Co. And we don't know, I have an exact date on it. It was just in the 1950s. And it may be because there's 2 different versions out there, but it does have pages missing. They say good, very good. I got it from the guy that I got a lot of. Oh, that wasn't the last one. I got one more. I could show another one I've already shown, the second appearance of Legion of Superhero, but you'll just have to go see my other, you know, it's on there. Spirit number 3, the third appearance of Spirit in the comics. 6 complete stories starring the Spirit, America's greatest crime buster. It does have a cover rip there. It does have whoever owned it, and it's preciously dated, like 1945. It's no number, but it's really number 3 but it's a no number. Quality Comics did it. I gave, I don't know, but would you give? It's got a little marking there in marker too. Couple initials. This Nicole or Nasson. It may be Nasser. He may want his book back, but no, I bought this off eBay. Um, got the NK there, but yeah, that's kind of controversial nowadays. Oh, and I've got one more. I'll go ahead and show it since I'm showing this. Okay, it's a reprint, but it's a rare book, and I actually saw one in 1985 up at Chicago Comic-Con. Um, and the cover speaks for itself. They now have these in print. You can get these. I can tell you the, you know, printer, and just I'd like you could do a whole review on this, but I'm glad they finally a comic book definitive, definitely way ahead of its time, a true pioneer. I'm reading from the book there from the back. Um, effort by African Americans to present a balanced picture in comic books while retaining a dignified humor that is at one's expense. Well drawn illustrations that do not stereotype individuals. This is a good comic book. Sad to say, was a time deal. And yes, I actually saw an original all comics, 15 cents. And this is the reproduction that you can get out now. Haven't had it that long, a few months, but I had to have it. I always wanted this when I saw it. Of course, this was, originally a pretty beefy book, but it's got color, maybe a wider, one of those big borders around it, like we've seen in CG. You know who you are out there. But yeah, just a key book to have in your collection. Offensive to some, maybe, but this is history. Again with the arrows. Look at that through the hat. But it had Negro or black writers. So this was way ahead of DC's milestone. Um, it had artists and inkers. It was all done by blacks. And, a credit and a testament that they would come out with something like this. You'd say, well, that kid, the way he's drawn, it's stereotypical. Listen, it is what it is. So, but yeah, I wanted to feature that with that spirit. Um, let's see. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Love baseball. Yeah, that's the one sport that I enjoyed too, Don. The Braves in the 90s kind of got me in it. And that's the one I most identify with. Played baseball a little bit, but mostly basketball. We had track, no football team. Now they've got a great, goes to the state every year, just about a football team at my old high school. So anyway, I have enjoyed this. I'm glad, John, you could join me. I featured in other videos, if you haven't watched them, some Man from Uncle from Gold Key, great photo covers from Man from Uncle. This book back here, right at the end of my thumb, is a great book to get on Yellow Kid. Kind of in the late 1895, 1896, around there. Yellow Kid came out, the very American art form we call comic books. Just great. I, want to do some resource books and stuff. You can see some CG stuff in even that one. This was a great there. You Don't Know Ditko. That was on. Did you get that one, Don? That's a good one. That was on Indiegogo. You Don't Know Ditko. And it was a sort of an updated version of of another book that he came out with. It was a small campaign. I bought it right before, maybe a couple of weeks before they took it down. Got it really quick, really fast after it closed out. Guess he already had them already printed up by that time. One thing I did want to show, and this is just for you, John, for a bonus for sticking with me. I got these at an estate sale recently. Oh yeah, Batman 1943. Let's see if I can read that. He's bursting out of a book that's a Bronze Age book. Boy, I can't read that, but you may have some of these. I've seen some of these. Never thought I'd own any. Publication date April May 1943. This is done in 3D. Here's the cover. Batman number 16. Sadly, see there, you can see it. Give you a good look at it. Great, and see how he's bursting out of that book. That, yeah, with the little plate on there. Great presentation. Somebody in CG ought to do that. Maybe I will with Devil Flyer. Who knows? Oh, I got another one for you, Don. I'm not going to leave you hanging. Not, I just with this. This is great. But yeah, I'll let you see the back too. Gives you all the information about it. Just a great little thing. Metal, heavy. Got that at a estate sale? Nothing, man. Didn't pay anything for that stuff, hardly anything at all. Oh, another one. Oh, nobody has to tell me what cover that is. That's Superman #1. And I have a photo piece of from the splash page to Action Comics #1. It was photographed maybe from the original art. Don't know exactly where he got it from Jack Adler. And I've got another video on Jack Adler, and I have not yet unveiled my big Jack Adler production art. He was the DC archivist. He kept maybe half of 1% of the stuff out of 800 and something thousand comic items that were produced. But he was the only one saving that stuff. Yeah, cool 3D. Yeah. Hey man, thanks for coming in, and we'll keep this as short as possible. So yeah, I look forward to Wednesday, Don. I'll write that on my schedule. You, uh, I'm sure I'll get a notification. You're always good to put notifications up there, set reminders. I don't have it sadly hooked up to my phone yet, but I keep a pretty close eye. So I guess we'll see you Wednesday. And thank you everybody for viewing this video. Until next time, peace and keep collecting.